everyone. So this is my first makeup tutorial that I'm going to be doing after a really long time. I haven't done it in a while, so forgive me if I'm not as every other YouTuber and stuff like that, but I've decided to do an everyday makeup, and I hope you guys like it. And if you want to see how I create this look, carry on watching. Right guys, so what I've already done is I've prepped my skin by popping on some moisturizer and some lip balm. Now the first thing I'm going to use is a primer. So the primer I'm going to be using today is the Mercier Pure Canvas Primer Illuminating, which is this one. Absolutely love this product. It's really good. You only need a size of a pea, you don't need too much. So about that much should do. And I'm mainly putting that in like my T-zone area, so I kind of dot that around my face first. I really like this because it gives you that really glowy look as well with your foundation. So the next product I'm going to be using is a foundation. Normally I wear tinted moisturizer, but currently my tinted moisturizer is too dark for me, so I'm going to be using a foundation. And now the foundation I'm using today is the Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation in the colour Syracuse. Absolutely love this foundation. It's one of my favourites, so yeah, I'm going to be using that today, but not a lot. So about that much should do the whole face. And again, I'm just going to dot it around like I did with my primer. And now I'm going to be using a brush to blend it all out. You can use a sponge if you like, but I prefer to use a brush like this, just so that it doesn't leave streaks, and it looks a bit more blended. Alright, so next I'm going to be using two concealers. One I'm going to use obviously just to conceal underneath my eyes and around my nose, and then the other one is to kind of highlight. So the first one I'm going to be using is the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Chestnut. And then the second one I'm going to be using is the Boi-ing Cakeless Concealer by Benefit in the shade number 7. So I'm just going to pop some just underneath my eye here, 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 here. I'm actually going to do some around my mouth as well, just not a lot. Now to blend it out, I'm going to be using a beauty blender, which is this one. I prefer to use this. I don't really like the Real Techniques one because I find that it's too hard, so I prefer to use this one because I find that it's softer. So then with the second concealer, you don't need a lot of this. I'm just going to do a couple of lines, or well, 3 lines, just underneath my eyes, on the side of my nose, and then on the bridge of my nose as well. And then again, I'm going to blend all of that out. Then I don't know if you find that sometimes when you've put concealer on, it goes into just the creases underneath your eyes. Now to stop that from happening, what I do is I set it straight away with a powder. Now the powder that I use is the Mercier translucent powder. Absolutely love this one. This one is my absolute favorite. So this is the one that I use, and what I do is I just set it straight away, but I use the baking method. So I'll pop some on, leave it on until I've done my brows, and then I will sweep it away. So just to make sure that it definitely doesn't stay in the creases, I'm just going to blend it out again. And then using the same sponge, I'm just going to dip into the powder and then place it underneath my eye. Also, what I like to do is I like to bring it down to the sides of my nose and on the bridge of my nose in the center. And then I'll just let that bake. Right, so in the meantime, I'm just going to do my brows. Now, what I'm going to be doing with my brows is I'm just going to fill it in ever so slightly. I'm not going to go too crazy with it because this is more my natural everyday look. So I don't really want to do too much. So what I'm going to be using is the Gimme Brow from Benefit Cosmetics in the shade 6. Now it's really easy on how to use this product. Literally all you do is go against the way your hair grows and then brush it back the normal way. So just against the way your hair grows. And then just brushing it back the normal way. At the moment, my eyebrows are really bad. I haven't waxed them or anything because I'm just going to let them grow out for a bit, so don't mind them. So if you can see the difference, one looks a bit more fuller but more natural. And then that's done. So what I then like to do is I like to then kind of carve my brows out and then just conceal around the brows, especially underneath where I'm trying to grow them out and they look quite messy. So just grabbing a concealer brush, something like this, just grabbing some concealer, and then I'm just going to carve out my brows, going from underneath. And just blending that out. And then I'm going to go at the top as well, top of my brows. Just want it a little bit more defined, not too crazy. So while I was doing my brows, I was just letting the powder set in. So now I'm just going to brush all of that away and just kind of brush it all over the face. Alright, so next what I'm going to be using is a bronzer, just to kind of bronze up the face, warm it up a little bit and do kind of a little bit of contouring with, not go too crazy with it. Because me personally, I do like a slim nose on myself, so I'm going to be contouring my nose. So the powder I'm going to be using today is the Hoola Caramel Powder by Benefit Cosmetics. And I'm going to be basically doing that all around the face and then just on my cheekbones. And I say that you do it in like a 3 motion. So you start from the top, bring it down, and then bring it back down again. Now, when you're doing your cheekbones, I tend to do like the fish face where I'm like, and that will help you line where your bronzer or your contouring is meant to go. And then what I like to do is I like to then place some of the bronzer just underneath my lip. And I use a smaller brush to do that. And then I'm going to be contouring my nose. So I'm going to start kind of where your eyebrow ends from there, and then bringing it down. And then blending out that line. And then I pop some just there at the bottom of my nose. Make sure you blend out this as well, because you don't want it to look too harsh. So what I then like to do is grabbing the brush that we used to get rid of the translucent powder, going to be using that on my nose just to kind of help with the harsh lines. So next I'm going to be highlighting and I'm going to be highlighting the tops of my cheekbones, just underneath my brow bone and on the bridge of my nose. And so the highlighter I'm going to be using today is by Benefit and it's called Tickle. I'm just going to use that on my cheekbones first. Just there. And like I use like a little small fluffy brush like this because it's easier to blend it out. And then when you're doing your highlighter, just do like a C shape. And then just make sure you blend that all out. And then using a smaller brush like this, I'm going to be doing the bridge of my nose. So next I'm going to be doing mascara. I don't tend to do any eyeshadow or eyeliner or anything like that when I'm doing my everyday makeup. I try to keep it as minimal as possible. So I'm going to be using a mascara next. So the first thing I do is I curl my eyelashes. Even though the mascara that I'm using is the Benefit Roller Lash and it curls and lifts your eyelashes already, I just like to curl them to give it that extra lift. And then finally I'm going to be doing my lips. So I do have Vaseline on, so I'm just going to take that off. I'm going to be using 2 lipsticks. One I'm going to be using on the outside of my lips, and the other one's going to be on the inside to kind of give it that ombre look. So the first one I'm going to be using is the Satin Lip Pencil by Nars in the colour Hetloo. And then the second one I'm going to be using is the matte lipstick in the colour Yash by MAC. So guys, this is the finished look, and I hope you enjoyed my little tutorial. If there is anything else that you would like to see, please let me know. And yeah, enjoy your day.